This excerpt was taken from a Full and Bloom interview with guitarist K.K. Downing. You can listen to the entire interview and more excerpts. Click the links in the description. Regarding British Steel, I just read somewhere that Rob had said, or he thought you guys might have been inspired by ACDC when you supported them on that previous tour, on the Killing Machine tour in 1979.
Yeah, that was a great tour, and those guys are just wonderful. I can't say enough good about them. They really know how to treat support bands, and that's where we learned our traits from, really. We always prided ourselves on treating support bands as good as we possibly could, and I wouldn't have that any other way. Yeah, I think the things that influenced me most was basically how well they treated us, how well we got on, and how straight down the rock metal can have such a great effect on an audience. But I always considered ACDC to be really quite bluesy. But yeah, I can't specifically remember being musically influenced by ACDC, other than some of the great stuff, how they really laid it down, really did pack a punch. I think, if anything, songs probably like Living After Midnight or Grinder, and there's a few songs that you would say that you potentially could see an influence, but consciously or subconsciously, Adam, I think, really. But I think that most of our stuff, like on British Steel, like Steeler and stuff like that, and Breaking the Law, and I don't know, mate, I really don't know.
Yeah, you had said in your book that you loved that tour probably more than any other, so I wasn't sure. Yeah. I just found that later that Rob had said that. You don't say that, of course, in your book. You just said that you thought you loved that tour more than any other.
Yeah, no, I loved ACDC, and I loved the tour, and I loved everything about it, but I was never particularly an ACDC fan. I liked them and really respected them, and they were great, and they're a real powerhouse. But my roots were more progressive style, a la Hendrix, improvisation and stuff like that. But it would be fair to say, going through that sort of period, British Steel, Point of Entry, that Priest was probably a bit more down the line on those albums.
I loved how you called Bon Scott genuinely dapper, how clean he was. It's a different image that I had of him.
Yeah, he was as I said in the book, a real gentleman, and he Bon Scott never looked stressed, wrecked, or anything else other than totally in control and very clean and tidy and very, very presentable.
Except for when he'd hit the stage, right?
Well, yeah, but even then, he was very polished and delivered the goods fine style.
Of course, yeah. But I think you said somewhere where he's throwing up into towels and stuff like that.
Well, there was that, yeah. But Bon would chug it down, but he would come on the side of the stage, and it was probably his way of getting rid of something that would probably cause him to totally fall over, So it was his way of doing it his way.
You guys recorded British Steel at Ringo Starr's property, which had been previously owned by John Lennon, right?
Yes.
I think you say something in the book about it was even where John Lennon was playing Imagine.
Yeah.
Does anything else kind of stand out from those sessions?
There again, I was never a Beatles fan. I was more of a Rolling Stones guy. And so recording at that facility never really quite dawned on me or hit me till years later, really, of exactly where I was. I was kind of in the presence of royalty, really. Like I say, we went down in the basement and it was absolutely packed full of like gold singles and memorabilia and stuff, but it was of no interest, really. We were just more interested in doing what we did. But now I'm really, really super thrilled to have spent the time in that place, the house that was all painted white, I guess, when they did the White Album and all of that, and the plug sockets were labelled up John and Yoko and stuff like that. It was quite a privilege, really. We were just busy doing things we were told not to do, like don't fish the lake, so we fished the lake. Don't bring motorbikes here, so we had motorbikes there. We was always more concerned about not getting told off for doing things that we shouldn't do. Putting light bulbs in the microwave till they exploded and stuff like that. It was Judas Priest were in town.
And so how long does that record take to record?
Real quick. I think we did it in a month.
Did you really? Wow.
Yeah, we did.
Do you remember the cost of that?
No. No, I never knew the cost of any of our albums, to be fair. It just was what it was.
Right.
But we were pretty good in those days. We were pretty good.